Hello everybody, and welcome to the 100 Interviews project. It's funny, I'm just giving up my habit of perfection, and I have not even figured out like a particular brand for this series. But the cool thing is we are interviewing cool people, and today we have Shalini Nandan with us. We've already had about a 15-20 minute long chat, and then we realized we haven't even started recording. So Shalini is going to be kind and, repeat all her gold again. So Shalini, I'm going to hand it over to you to please tell us who you are and what you do.
Okay. All right, Shilpa, thank you very much. My name is Shalini Nandan Singh. I have a business located in Brisbane. It's called Legally Shalini. So I'm a lawyer. I have a legal practice, but my Legally Shalini work is very much about being present for my clients, resolving legal issues and educating them on how to navigate this negative mindset that tends to settle on you whenever you can have to consider a legal matter within your business. And I'm an entrepreneur myself, so I started this business as a lean startup so that I could really understand how people think and feel when they are starting a business from scratch. So in the past, we didn't have terms like lean startup and entrepreneurship or anything like that. Back home in Fiji, you borrowed money and you started a business and you hoped that it worked. Basically, that's what it was. And sometimes people supported you, sometimes they didn't. So fast forward 26 years later, and I'm in Brisbane and I'm thinking I have to do something. So I thought, okay, let's see what it really means when people say you are a lean startup. So that's what I did. I started, I basically decided I wanted to work with people who are also starting up their businesses and to help them have a certain level of confidence in how they view difficult issues that arise in their businesses. And those difficult issues could be your relationships with your clients. It could be documentation that you have trouble with. It could be advocating for yourself, negotiating. It could be asking for certain terms and conditions with people that you work with. It could also mean that you could be, need to say no. How do you say that? And also interpreting documents that people give to you, agreements that people send to you as well. So, you're as a business owner, you don't have experience in all these things. So what happens is people tend to just leave them, just like they leave their financials or they leave their marketing, and so business becomes a struggle. So my philosophy is very much interventionist. I'm not there to market your business or grow your business, or I don't promise to take you from a $5,000 business to a $500,000 business. What I do promise to do is to help you to think about your issue at hand, deal with it so that you can move on to the next day of your business, and as much as possible realistically get you to consider the risks that are coming towards you.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you so much. And I think what I love the best is your why. Like, why you're doing this is because you don't only want to help business owners, to get out of legal messes or legal issues, but really to clear our mind about legal and legalities are not all about negative stuff, right? Like, what I hear from you, what I get from you now is legals are here to protect us, and how we can associate a positive energy.
Well, I think what I tell people to consider your legals in your business, your client agreements, your policies, your whatever. These are documentation or agreements that you are making with yourself, with your client, with the universe, if you will, to support your business. Okay, so whatever you infuse them with is what you'll get back. So it's probably a better idea to think
I
about
love it.
them as something that supports your business rather than something you have to do when you don't like to deal with it. It is a fact of life. And I learned that in business, because it's only this time in this business that I've actually had the same approach put to me by women that I work with about my own financial affairs. So I'm now learning to kind of love my bookkeeping, because
Yeah.
I've changed my mindset to see it as something that supports me in my business and my growth. Therefore, it's something positive.
Yep.
Okay. And it's changed how I look at it. So, and that is what I encourage clients to look at when they're dealing with agreements for their business. It's really a tool to teach you about your business. It's a
Yeah.
tool that teaches other people about your business.
Mm.
It's a tool that sorts out who you want to work for
Mm.
and with, and sorts out who you don't want to work for and who you don't
Yeah.
want to, because you can't be everything to everybody. That's why we get into the mess that we do with people.
Actually, yeah,
Okay,
that's
because
right.
it's all, we set up expectations
It's
and
about
they have
attracting the wrong
expectations.
client, right? Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
So your agreements are your tools to attract the right client.
Mm.
And if you are intimate with your agreements, if you are involved with them, and if you are consider them to be a positive thing in your business, one of the many tools that you have, then it's going to be an effortless business, right? And the thing is, I guess when it comes to entrepreneurship, one thing I do notice is so much time and money is spent on marketing. But business is not just about marketing. It's about keeping your clients. It's about client relationships. It's about
Yeah.
educating them. It's about putting in foundations that protect your business as well,
Yeah.
because you work so
Foundation.
hard. Yeah, you've worked so hard to create this business. And
Yeah.
as time goes by, you get busier, you get a little bit more exhausted, you get very sort of like resentful of clients perhaps because they are demanding too much of you. It's not your client's fault. It's your responsibility to put boundaries in place.
Yeah.
And your agreements are one of those tools that you would use. And these days, they don't have to be difficult, wordy contracts. They can be beautifully branded agreements that are written, with the soul and personality of the business owner, and in simple, straightforward language that
Wow.
customers understand. It's not the old type where legal jargon is everywhere and you basically don't even understand what is in the agreement. So things are done a little bit differently these days by
Yeah.
lawyers who get that, and I've been doing that for a while now, only because I think that you have a better chance of a stronger relationship with someone if you are able to communicate with them
Mm.
in a language that they understand.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I think because I totally hear you. In fact, I have myself signed so many agreements as being on the client side, so I was given the agreement to sign when I was entering into this working relationship
Yeah.
with someone. And I couldn't care less to read the agreement because it was so wordy. It was like really full of jargons. And I was just hoping that they've written sense.
It's interesting, Trooper, because there's always going to be lots of agreements like that. Okay, so how do you deal with that? There's always going to be a 10-page telco agreement,
Yeah, I know.
right?
Yeah.
There's always going to be a 10-page agreement when you sign up for a phone plan or
Yeah,
sign up
yeah,
for an electricity plan.
yeah.
So what I guess you need to do is, in your mind, you need in your heart and mind, you need to manage that situation, that this is always going to be the case. Educate yourself to have a minimum understanding.
Mm.
Build up other areas of your business and your confidence so that if you don't have the time to go through these wordy documents, getting
Yep.
angry with it is also not going to achieve anything.
Yeah, totally.
You need to get on with life, right?
Yeah.
So get yourself into a position where if a problem arises, that you actually have the confidence to go back and negotiate something out of that agreement.
Yeah.
Okay, even if you never read it from start to finish when you
Yeah.
signed it, because that's reality. People don't do that. I can't tell you how pointless it is. Like if I tried to tell you that my ideal client is someone who will always read every agreement. I would
You
not be in
won't find
business.
exactly.
It's not a reality. I help people. I totally get that you don't read pages and pages. I don't myself, but what I do tell myself is that it needs to be put in perspective.
Yeah.
You need to create a context for yourself that allows you to deal with, okay, where it sits in the scheme of things, and and how risky it is, not whether you. So, if, for example, if you're buying a house that's worth $800,000, of course you would read it very carefully,
yeah,
right?
I think I would too.
But if you're buying a $40 a month phone plan, you just need the phone, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You just need to get on with it. So, but they still have a phone plan contract is as long as a sale of as a property contract. So I'm just saying to you, it all requires perspective.
Yeah.
And when things do go wrong, and this is another thing that I think people need to understand about contracts, is that we make them. We also break them.
Yeah.
And what they are is they're not actually cast in, they're not written in stone.
Yeah.
You can change them.
Mm-hmm.
They are platforms for negotiation and discussion.
Yep. Okay.
Okay. So the more you know them, the more you work with them, the more you look to fit them into your business and it's a living document in your business.
Yep.
But the real thing you earn from that is the ability to, negotiate and self-advocate. So you have an agreement to work from, and that allows you to then position yourself as the number one advocate for your own business.
Yeah.
If you don't have the agreements, you have nothing.
Yeah, totally.
You have nothing to fall back on. You have nothing to negotiate from. You lack a certain professionalism to begin with, because people will the wrong kind of people want to do business with you. They're the ones that are happy you don't have an agreement, because then they can actually say, I'm not, they can work outside reasonable terms and say, well, you don't have an agreement. So you want to always have your own boundaries in place, and your own standards in place, because that's who you want to attract, isn't it?
Yeah. And I think I really loved what you began with saying is infuse your legals, infuse your agreements, contracts with a positive energy, because I think it has just given me such a massive, shift in perspective. Because up until now, what I thought was a big hassle, like, entering and even creating contracts in the first place. I don't have lengthy contracts, or even, I think I'm in my business. Like, I think I got to explore that with you. I told you already. But yes, rather than thinking of those contracts as my defense mechanism, I think it's about just creating healthy boundaries.
Look, even more than that, look at it as a way to educate your client about how you work. That's all it is. It's saying, hey, listen, this is how I work. This is what needs to happen for me to give you my best.
Yes.
Or, this is my standard, but more importantly, this is my processes. This is what needs to happen for me to give you my best service. Right? So you need to also come to the party with this. An agreement is a two-way thing. Terms and conditions are two-way things, and they can always be changed. They can always be waived. They can always be altered. They can always be amended. I have clients because I have terms and conditions, and there are some things that I don't do. I don't work on weekends. However, I invite you to talk about it with me if it is a requirement that you have. But I will waive it, because they're my agreements, and I have them in place for a reason. Okay. And that's why I'm in business, to be able to make the changes when I need to make the changes. So a lot of my work is really empowering people to embrace their responsibilities to themselves in business. There are key responsibilities to yourself when you are an entrepreneur, when you are in business. One is that you have a responsibility to ensure that you have your legal sorted. The other responsibility is to have your financial sorted, because if you're not making money, you're not going to be in business. If you're
Yeah.
not got your legal sorted, you won't be in business
Yeah.
for long.
Mm.
The third thing, of course, is self-care in business. You have a responsibility. You're the number one person. If you don't support yourself by looking after your business interests and both legally, financially, then you're not supporting yourself. Your self-care is at risk.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they all link together. You can't just operate in isolation.
Yeah.
And it's funny because all we ever seem to talk about is marketing.
Mm.
But that's a very superficial thing, Shilpa.
Yeah.
Marketing means nothing if your foundation isn't strong, if you're not legally operating, if you don't have good processes in places to keep the people that you earn the money from by serving them,
Yep.
or to protect the money that you've made.
Yep.
Right? If you can market all you like, but if this is not happening in the background, you will inevitably just set yourself up for failure. And I've seen it happen many times.
Yeah, you're building with collapse, right? I mean, because your foundation
absolutely
isn't strong. If it gives way, all the money will ultimately collapse. You won't be able to keep it.
No, but it all comes back to your own, I guess, mindset about these things. I have always felt that if it's not your zone of genius, don't do it.
Yeah.
Right. If you're not a bookkeeper,
totally, I'm with you.
Get someone to do the bookkeeping.
Yeah.
If you are a lawyer, do your legal work. Get somebody else to do your accounting. Get somebody else to do your marketing. If you're a natural therapist, get somebody else to do your bookkeeping.
Yep, totally.
If you're a do what you do and do it well.
Yeah.
Support, outsource the stuff that is not your zone of genius, because that's also how you attract clients. If you are working with other people, they will work with you.
Yeah, exactly.
It's as simple as that. That's how you build relationships. That's how you grow your business. And that's another thing that I've really had to it's been a learning. Not that I did anything all myself anyway, because we, in lawyer, we are so busy. The legal profession is like, you have no time to do your accounting and your marketing and stuff. And I've had to learn to do a little bit of it with Legally Shalini, but I've quickly realized that if I want to serve my people well, I have to do my job. I have to do what might service my clients, right?
Yeah.
So which means other things have to go to other people.
Yep, that's right. Yeah.
And that means, the social media stuff, the marketing stuff, the website stuff, the bookkeeping, the accounting, even my cleaning. So I have time to get stuff, and the ironing lady. So these are the things that support my business. To enable me to actually do what I say I do, which is provide a legal service.
I'll just add this over there. There are so many, there are so many business owners who, right at the beginning, they can't outsource everything because, they just begun and they don't have the resources, right? So you've got a bub in the background. Who's that?
Yeah, she's a little bit grizzled. She had immunization yesterday, so it's a little bit.
Is it your?
It's not mine. No. It's my best friend.
Oh,
she's got a little baby. So.
Yeah. No, it's all good. I've had interviews with moms. Babies feeding on them.
Sorry about that.
The dogs. It's all good. It's all good. This is what I was actually chatting with Jay about this morning. We were talking about being the recovering perfectionist. So really, I really respect this space. And it's good. I'm able to concentrate. If you can,
I can. I can't do anything about it. She's She's little, and she needs,
and I really respect that because I've got a little girl myself. So I mean, mine might just wake up and. So, anyways, all good. What were we talking about? Outsourcing.
Yes.
So, when you're a brand new business, you just have started and you don't have cash flow. What you need to do is, do some basic fast activities to get your cash flow up and running so that you can outsource these things. But, don't blame yourself. Don't beat yourself up because you don't have the funds and you can't outsource everything already. it's a gradual process. Even you would have gotten there gradually. I got there gradually. So
Absolutely,
yeah,
and you have to go a little bit easy on yourself. If
yeah,
you're savvy at some of it, sure, do it.
yeah,
But if you can't draft your own agreements, don't do it. If you
yeah,
can't balance your books, don't do it.
yeah,
But if you can write a Facebook post, if you're a good writer and you
yeah.
can write
Do
your
that.
own books,
Yeah,
do it.
yeah,
That's great. If you're not comfortable with doing all, the back end of a website business,
hmm,
don't do it. There are people that can do it for you. And you will learn in business that that's the time you can negotiate. You can negotiate costs. You can negotiate
yeah,
payment. You
and
can negotiate to get these things done
yeah,
on terms that will suit your stage of your business at a
yes,
particular time.
yeah,
And I have no problems in asking, when even now, if there is
yeah,
that thing where I think, okay, I'm not going to pay this up front. I have no capacity.
yep,
Okay, I have no problem having a conversation with providers about a payment plan,
yep, yep,
right? Or anything like that. And I find a lot of entrepreneurs find it very difficult to have that conversation. They
yeah,
really want to work with someone, but they find it very hard to go back to them and say, look, I can't afford to pay all of this at once. Can we work out something that's going to work for both of us so that I can get this done in some way?
yep,
Most people are reasonable. They will
yep,
want to help you, but
yes,
they are not mind readers,
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
right? And of course you have to learn in business to take no. Some people will say, no, I'm sorry, I can't help you. But then what
you at least ask.
yeah, the ability to ask is the critical thing here.
Yeah, yeah,
That's the skill that is the learning that comes out of the no,
yeah, yeah,
is the
beautiful.
ability to actually ask. So I find that my work beyond the agreements, beyond drafting business agreements and doing legal work for clients, often goes towards teaching them or supporting them to have these conversations
Yeah,
for themselves. They
yeah,
don't need a lawyer to do it. They need the
yeah,
skill themselves to be able to ask the right questions.
yeah,
So quite often, if someone has to go and negotiate a lease or a property settlement or something, time with, I'm able to then gauge where they are in their ability to ask the questions,
yeah,
or even the confidence to ask the
yeah.
questions. Then we have a talk about their rights to ask these questions.
Mm.
Then we actually talk about how to ask them, what words to use, where in the conversation do you raise this so that it's
Yep.
most effective. And
Mm.
and then, because people just don't know, it's not their everyday life.
Yeah, of
It's
course. Yeah.
it's completely foreign to them.
Mm.
So it's a very interesting part of my work that I have. It makes my legal work bearable.
Yeah. You know what I've been loving about our chat so far, Shalini? Like, I handed it over to you and you've been just, shooting your knowledge bombs and I haven't had to ask a question. So you
You can
have,
ask. Do you have questions now?
no, I don't have any questions. I didn't have any script. I'm just, I just started recording and,
Yeah.
I was all up ready to play spontaneously.
Mm.
So, but it's really cool, like, because you're navigating from topic to topic, which actually is adding value to the listeners. So it's
Look,
really
I
cool.
think I think these days people are very well-rounded, Shilpa.
Mm,
They are niched in their services, but as people, they are exposed to a lot of information. They're
mm,
exposed to a lot of ways of doing things. They're exposed to a lot of different types of thought patterns
yep,
and values and all
yep,
of that. So it's not like you, if you just grew up in Nandi, Fiji, or in Mumbai, India, that you have that culture only, right?
yeah,
It's very global now. So you
yep,
have friends and influences from everywhere.
yep,
So you basically need to tap into that on every level of your business.
mm-hmm,
So when you come to things like your financials and your legals and all of that, you have to decide who you are, how you want to show up. How how is handling this particular matter, in which way is it going to make you a better person? Sometimes you have to walk away from stuff, mainly because you caused it.
Yeah.
Right. Sometimes you are there to see it through on a reason of principle, sometimes on a principle. Other times it's a business decision. Is it worth taking this any further? Where is my stress level at the moment? You know, does it serve me? How does it serve me? So these are higher level questions that I encourage my clients or my friends or anybody who comes to me with an issue. Forget about it being a client even. I say to them, you know, how do you want this to serve you? And then we talk about, well, does it serve you in that way? And if it does, then we go for it. If it doesn't, then it's time to put it where it belongs and move on from it.
Yeah.
And that is what people need to remember, that it's not always about a fight.
Yeah.
Okay. It's legal life is really more about compromise and negotiation and building relationships. That's what legal life really is about.
It's
not
amazing
about
you bring this, because like before this conversation, I could never have put legal and relationship building in one sentence.
Well, I'm telling you that it is about that, and if people remembered that, it would change the context, and it would certainly lift a lot of, I guess, weight of how they and sorrow will come, but it's not because you had to have legals in place, or it's not the law's fault. It's just sometimes these things have to be managed in certain ways. And there's a saying that you can't change you can't change the external world. You can only change how you look at it.
Yeah.
Right. And that's a universal truth for me.
Yeah.
It's a universal truth for me. And that's what I try to remember when I give advice is, how are you looking at this? Is there some way we can look at it that will serve you better? Maybe that's where the real work lies.
Yeah. So Shalini, I also remember, just before I hit record, you were sharing some, cool tips about how to handle situations when you're already in a legal mess.
Okay, sure. Well, I think the first thing to remember is that you had a role to play in this.
Yep.
Okay, so legal messes don't materialize out of a vacuum.
Yep.
There are always players, and if you're a party to it, it means that you had a part to play in it. Yeah. So just first of all, remember that. And secondly, the second thing I would say is put it in perspective of the rest of your life. Okay, it is possible that you need to do some inner work at that time and get help around that to be able to deal with the fact of the impact of a particular challenge or issue or mess that has arrived, so to speak, in your life. The third thing I would say to you when looking at a legal issue in your business, so you've got a difficulty with a client, or you've got a difficulty with, putting it in a business perspective where there is a dispute or an unhappy situation. Yep. Look at how you've been working.
Yeah.
Okay. Look at it as an opportunity for improvement.
Yep.
It's not a blame game. It has happened because either something was not in place.
Yep.
It happened because your system was probably not set up how it should have been.
Yep.
And finally, it probably happened because you didn't educate your client properly about how you work.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I love that bit. I'm going to just take that on board, and I think,
And don't be afraid of, if you're afraid of legal agreements, it's not the agreements you should be afraid of. What you should be looking at is, why are you afraid? What is it in you and about your perception of your business that makes you so afraid to lay down your house rules?
Yeah.
Okay. What is it in that? So that's something that's really important to look at. And finally, remember that you really want to work with people that understand you and support how you work and look at how you work and get it, right? So that's your ideal client. And the final thing I tell people, Shilpa, and this is something that I've learned myself, is really there's no such thing as an ideal client. You cultivate your ideal client. You build relationships, you educate them, and then you invite them to be your ideal client. You know, nobody arrives as an ideal client. You have to nurture them and teach them, and
you have to make
them your ideal client. You have to educate them to be because in life you don't become a lawyer just by becoming a lawyer. You don't become a doctor just by becoming a doctor. You don't become a plumber just by becoming a plumber. You educate yourself about it.
Yeah.
Right? So if you want someone to do something for you or work with you, then you must educate them on how to do that with you.
Yeah, which is so cool, right? Because I'm actually right now, as you're talking, I'm actually thinking of certain client situations and how they could have been, handled. Like, I haven't really dealt with any particular messy situation, but sometimes things became gray, and I did not know how to handle them. And
frankly, the agreements, the policies, your legal requirements in your business are not there for when they're not there because things have gone wrong. They're there to help you with your business.
Yep.
They're there to help you in the event of things going wrong. People are unpredictable. Things will always go wrong. No agreement will protect you from that.
Yeah.
An agreement will only provide you something to work from. And if you have any love for your business, any respect for your business, and any love or respect for your clients, genuinely, then you will have a platform there for them to work from, rather than leaving it all to interpretation, which is what people do when they don't have agreements.
Which is so cool, because you're talking of, you really just now elevated, like the whole legal platform to a new level in my eyes, because you're saying it's not, it's, legal agreements, they're not your servants to come and clean the mess, right?
No, they're not. But they're actually there to back you. They and getting upset with them or getting upset with having to have them is not the answer.
They won't serve you then.
They are there to teach you about you and your business.
Yeah. Wow. I'm so amazed and I'm so impressed. And I'm so glad we had this chat, because you've given me some fresh perspective, which I have never heard of before. Because maybe I haven't interacted with many lawyers in my life, so.
I hardly ever tell people when I first meet them what I do. Only because I think to myself, I like to find out how they negotiate and build relationships in the first place. If they have a nervousness about that, it shows in their business. Okay, it shows in the success of their business. So it's an interesting field, and I love working in this space and meeting different types of people. It's been probably the best out of law firm experience I can describe, and always having had the traditional legal firm background. For the first time, the last 2.5 years has been spent in this online space working with entrepreneurs. And it's really shown me that the problem doesn't lie with the actual legalities. It's so much of it is how people think about them.
All right, Shalini, it's been such a wonderful conversation, and I think I can go on forever. But, just, to wrap it up, I'm thinking if you can actually leave us with an inspirational, story, or did you experience a situation where you found yourself using legal agreements to serve you, or, to fall back on without much content,
Look, I can only tell you what I do now, which I think is very relevant. I mean, I have I have a very simple agreement which I include in my emails to clients who have expressed an interest to work with me, and I tell them things about how I really want to work, and
Yeah, okay.
and I do that as an example to them of how they need to think about their business and how they work. So it's not unusual for me in my my main advice, I guess, my main takeaway for people would be that when you're thinking about having conditions and terms and agreements for your business, the first step is to just write down how you feel about it, how you actually feel about your client, and how you want to work with them, and what how you want to, how do you want them, what do you want them to know about your business, and do it in point by point form. Say things like that what you don't want to do, what you do want to do, and how do you do that. So for example, it's a simple thing like, I don't work on weekends. I'm available certain hours. If you cancel an appointment, this is why. If you cancel an appointment, this will happen, and this is why. Explain the impact it has.
Yeah.
Okay. What you're doing is you're having a conversation with them and explaining to them like a humane person that this is why I do what I do, and you'll find that it really helps people to make the decision to work with you, because what they see is a reasonable person with a life.
Yeah. And I think as long as again, it's the whole world is talking about this. Start with why, begin with why.
Yeah. So people want to know, and once they know, the battle's won.
Yeah.
If they know why you're doing something.
Yeah.
What they don't like is if they're told that this is the way it is and there's no reasonable reason why.
Yeah. Very good. Yeah, all right, fantastic. I think I just can't wait to create, like an
I look forward to it. How interesting the work you do.
I know. And thank you so much for supporting my project and, just jumping on board. And cool.
Make sure you find time to catch up in Brisbane, Shilpa.
Oh yes, I will.
That'll be fun.
I think what I'm experiencing is, first off, I'll have to start creating a list of different cities and the people I have to catch up with, so I don't miss out on people. It's gonna be so good.
Sure.
Or we can have a meetup, like all of us. We catch up for dinner.
Yeah, you can come to my house.
Thank you. Yeah.
I'll make you roti.
Oh wow. I've got a kitchen. I've got a whole, whatever. It's like a whole kitchen, like a gas stove and everything in the caravan. Cool. Just getting out of context of the interview.
Okay. Enjoy your afternoon, and thank you
so much. I'm just going to stop recording.